Most American parents would expect the same sequence: a warning, a firmer voice, maybe a timeout or consequence. But in many Japanese homes and preschools, the adult's first move is often much quieter. They watch a little longer, step in a little earlier, use far fewer words, and somehow the child settles faster anyway. That difference reveals something important. Calm kids are rarely built in the punishment itself. They are built in everything that happened before punishment ever felt necessary. For deeper parenting psychology that actually changes behavior, subscribe to Baby Cues Decoded. This is not a video about letting children do whatever they want, and it is not about pretending Japanese parenting is perfect. It is about a better question. How is calm actually built? Because punishment can stop behavior in the moment. But calm, in the deeper sense, is something far more valuable than simple compliance. It is the ability to regulate, recover, tolerate frustration, and live inside structure without constant emotional chaos. That is why this matters so much. The real goal is not to shut a child down faster. It is to help build the kind of nervous system that needs less shutting down in the first place. Punishment can stop a moment, but it does not automatically build a calm child. Rule 1. Calm is borrowed before it is built. The first rule is the one most parents were never taught. Children do not learn calm first as a rule. They learn it first as an experience with another nervous system. Before a child can steady themselves, they usually need to be steadied many times by someone else. That is what makes this so foundational. Calm is not something children magically produce on demand just because an adult insists on it. It is something they gradually build by living through enough moments where distress meets steadiness instead of more distress. A calmer voice, slower hands, a face that does not add panic to the panic already in the room. This is the first major reframe. The calm Japanese child is not always the child who was corrected harder. Very often, it is the child whose distress was met earlier, more consistently, and with less emotional chaos around it. Calm kids are not always the ones who are disciplined the most. Very often, they are the ones who were regulated the longest. Rule 2. Read the signal before it becomes a problem. The second rule is one of the most distinctly Japanese feeling ideas in the whole video. Do not wait for the behavior to become obvious before you start parenting it. There is a Japanese concept often described as mimamoru, watching, protecting, and not rushing in too loudly or too late. Not because the adult is passive, because the adult is paying attention. Deep attention changes everything. A lot of children are corrected for behavior that did not actually arrive out of nowhere. It was building, in the restless body, the louder voice, the hungry eyes, the glassy stare, the rougher touch, the overstimulated movement, the subtle shift that says, "I'm getting close." That is why this rule matters. The child may not be calmer because adults punish less after the outburst. The child may be calmer because adults get there sooner, before the overwhelm hardens into behavior that now has to be stopped. A lot of what gets punished as bad behavior started as an unread signal. Rule 3. Reduce the gap between need and response. The third rule is about timing, not perfection, timing. Children escalate more when the gap between their need and the adult's useful response is too wide. Not because they are manipulative, not because they are dramatic, because distress grows in empty space. The longer a child has to stay alone inside rising frustration, confusion, hunger, overstimulation, or emotional hurt, the harder that state becomes to reverse cleanly. This does not mean reacting intensely to every small feeling. It means learning to narrow the delay between something is building and an adult arrives in a useful way. Sometimes the real parenting work does not begin at the tantrum. It begins 2 minutes earlier, when the room was still salvageable. That is what sharp parents notice. They do not only respond eventually, they reduce the distance between the child's need and the moment help becomes real. The longer a child has to live alone inside the escalation, the louder the escalation usually gets. Rule 4. Build rhythm so the day feels readable. The fourth rule is less dramatic than discipline, but often more powerful than discipline. Children are calmer when life is easier to read. Healthy Children says children do best when routines are regular, predictable, and consistent. And AAP Guidance for Toddlers notes that knowing what to expect can reduce tantrums. That matters because a child's nervous system is constantly trying to answer one question all day long. What happens next? When the answer keeps changing abruptly, behavior often gets louder. When the answer becomes more familiar, the child spends less energy bracing against the day. That is why predictable rituals matter so much. The waking rhythm, the meal rhythm, the cleanup rhythm, the bedtime rhythm, the goodbye that sounds the same most mornings. These things are not boring little parenting details. They are emotional architecture. And this is one reason some Japanese homes and classrooms can feel calmer from the outside. Expectations are often practiced as repeated habits, not introduced only during crisis. Children do not become calm only because they are corrected. They become calmer because life stops startling their nervous system all day. Rule 5. Correct quietly, clearly, and without humiliation. The fifth rule is where many parents confuse force with strength. The opposite of punishment is not permissiveness. It is firm, low-drama discipline. The AAP's guidance is explicit. Effective discipline focuses on teaching good behavior rather than punishing bad behavior. And Healthy Children says spanking and harsh words are harmful and do not work well. The point is not to become vague or indulgent. The point is to become clearer, calmer, more deliberate. So correction starts looking different. You get lower instead of looming. You use fewer words instead of flooding the child with emotion. You name the feeling without surrendering the boundary. You're angry. I won't let you hit. You hold the line. You follow through. But you do not turn the child into the enemy just because the moment is hard. And I think this is the part many adults need to hear most. Punishment often feels serious, but what it frequently communicates is adult overwhelm. Real authority usually looks steadier than that. Fear may stop a moment, but it does not teach the kind of calm you want to live with years from now. Rule 6. Teach the child to feel the room, not just obey the rule. The sixth rule is where calm becomes more than compliance. A calm child is not just a child who stops. It is a child who gradually learns to notice other people, consequences, tone, and belonging. Japanese preschool research is especially interesting here because it argues that these practices help scaffold a more collective, rather than primarily individual, locus of control. In that framework, Mimamoro during conflict is not passive neglect. It can create space for empathy, problem solving,
and pro-social development instead of instant adult domination of the moment. That is why the language changes. Less, "What's wrong with you?" and more, "What happened here?" Less, "Stop crying," and more, "Look at his face. What do you think he felt?" Less, "Because I said so," and more, "Here's what we do in this family." Healthy Children makes a parallel point from the American side. Children learn communication, kindness, and emotional habits by watching adults model them. So the goal is not a child who behaves because power scared them. The goal is a child whose self-control slowly starts connecting to empathy and belonging. The deepest discipline is not fear. It is the moment a child starts carrying the room inside their conscience. Rule 7. Repair fast so the child learns that mistakes don't end connection. The 7th rule may be the most hopeful of all. Calm children are not raised by flawless adults. They are raised by adults who know how to come back after rupture. Healthy Children emphasizes helping children name feelings and feel understood, because that makes emotions easier to manage. It also stresses that children learn emotional habits by watching us, which means the lesson is not ruined the second you get too loud, react too late, or handle a moment badly. The real question is what you do next.
If you overreact, the goal is not to defend yourself. It is to repair quickly and clearly. "I got too loud. Let's try that again." "You were upset. I was upset too. I'm here now." That does two powerful things at once. It keeps discipline from hardening into shame, and it teaches the child that self-control includes recovery, not perfection. In other words, the child learns that mistakes do not end connection, and strong feelings do not have to break the relationship. Children do not need perfect adults. They need adults who know how to come back without making love feel fragile. So, no, this is not about copying Japan perfectly. It is about seeing something more clearly. Calm children are not usually created by one powerful punishment. They are created by a long pattern: borrowed calm, earlier reading, smaller gaps, steadier rhythm, low drama correction, stronger social awareness, and faster repair. Those themes line up both with mainstream child development guidance and with Japanese preschool research on watching, waiting, and social emotional scaffolding. If you want calmer kids, the real question is not how to scare them into control. It is how often their nervous system gets to practice calm in the presence of someone stronger, steadier, and safe.